Hey friends, it's Rachel.
And Shira. Welcome to our Zoom Out podcast.
We're two close friends who love having honest, vulnerable conversations about life, healing, and all the messy, beautiful parts of being human.
We definitely don't have all the answers, but we have a deep desire to see life from a wider lens.
We're here to ask questions, share our stories along the way, be real with each other and with you.
So if you've ever felt like there's a bigger picture you're not always seeing, you're not alone.
Let's zoom out
Together.
Hi friends.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
We're so excited to introduce our first topic of the podcast. We're going to be talking today all about self-love.
So our podcast titles are actually called, this one is called The One Where We Become Our Own Best Friend. And we took inspiration from Friends.
We're paying a little homage.
Little homage,
Because we
but
love Friends.
anyways, we thought that was cute. But we decided that we want to start off this podcast talking about self-love because we really feel like it is the root to all relationships, to any problems or not problems. And it's just like a foundational element of life and how you experience life and how you interact with people.
Yeah, and it really is just that guiding light to all the questions we ever ask. I think it always goes back to self-love. And Shira and I don't know where we read this somewhere, but we just really loved it and wanted to include it in this episode. But the idea is the relationship you have with yourself is the master key, and every external relationship you have is a copy of that key.
Yes.
And I think that really is so important. A lot of times people don't really realize that. You know, it sounds so obvious, but people really treat you the way they treat themselves. And I think in that sense, like, nothing is ever personal because it really is just a reflection of how people feel about themselves.
Right. And we talk a lot about like zooming out. Obviously, that's the whole idea of our podcast. But I feel like with this, it's sort of turning everything inward and zooming in order to be able to go outwards and zoom out and have that perspective. So now it's like, this is like the first step of everything, which is to go inside, fix your relationship with yourself, and then by default fixing, like, once you do that, it will fix your relationship with others and with the world. And
it's also just a really exciting topic for us because I think Shira and I have really done a lot of internal work and continue to do so. Obviously, we're not perfect in any way. We're just human.
definitely not.
And yeah, and you know, in a very relatable way. But more than that, I think it's just self-love truly is everything. And Shira and I have really, on our own, separately, like individually, and then being able to share that with each other, we've really had a lot of situations in our life where self-love was just really at the root of it. For example, I can say that for me, a huge understanding of self-love really was when I understood that I am my own best friend and I have to treat myself as such. I think it's so much easier for us to treat others sometimes, or people that we love, with so much love and respect, and then we don't treat ourselves that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so much easier to hype up your best friend and tell them how amazing they look, but then you look in the mirror and all you're saying is, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, I'm so
God.
this.
All the time.
Right?
Yeah.
And Shira and I have been really learning throughout life. It's really just about, it's not about judging yourself, but, and it's so much, obviously we're saying this because we're on this journey, and it really is a never ending journey. There's always newer levels and newer heights to see, but it really is just about not judging yourself throughout the process and meeting yourself with a lot of grace and empathy, the way that you would want your best friend meet you.
Right. There's a quote in the Bible, in Pirkei Avot. Is it Pirkei Avot?
I have no idea.
But anyways, it's love your fellow like you love yourself, right? And a lot of when we hear that, we automatically focus on how we are to other people. But me and Rachel were talking about it, and we really feel like it's more love yourself.
Emphasis.
Yeah, more an emphasis on yourself. Love yourself. Once you love yourself, you'll be able to love your fellow. You could love anyone when you love yourself.
Right, because you can't give someone something that you don't have. You can't
Yeah.
give so much love to someone if you don't have that within yourself, and it really does stem there. And something to add that, you know, I've been telling Shira about is that, you know, a revelation I've had on my own journey recently is that part of self-love is really knowing your worth, knowing your value, right? Not just like running after things or people that you think will fill some sort of like instant gratification. But I can tell you that recently I met with someone. She did like a session with me. I don't need to go into the details, whatever it was. It was like her practice. But essentially, I walked out of that session with the message of knowing my worth. And it was actually crazy because I had that session with her on a Monday night. And I kid you not, the whole rest of the week, every single day, something happened. Whether it was like annoying situations, right? But all just blessings in disguise of just really kind of giving me that message one way or another, knowing your worth. Like I had that session with her. The next night I was going to this like this Jewish event with like young people, and there was this guy there that started talking to me. He's like nice guy and all, but I had no interest in really speaking to him. And there were so many people at this event, but I like energetically I just felt so cornered. And I literally saw myself in that moment the night, thinking about what she told me the night before and going, oh my gosh, this is what she's talking about. Like not just giving away your energy for free.
Yes.
Right? Like our energies, we have to start not have to, but like Shira and I are starting to look at our energy, our time
as valuable.
As valuable. Like we're Chanel purses. Not everybody has the means to buy that. So not everybody should have the access to your energy, your time, your feelings, your advice, your thoughts, all of that. So it was a really frustrating situation to be in, but eventually I got out of it. But then the next day there was this thing with work where I sent an email to someone who just was like really hard to get on a call with. And then my boss had to email the person to kind of have them answer it. Essentially, I was being too nice, and I absolutely love my boss. He just calls me. He's like, hey, listen, it was probably like literally a 3-minute conversation, but he's awesome. He's just like a mentor to me. But essentially, he just called me. He's like, hey, listen, like you just sound too nice. And in life, people are going to mistake your kindness for weakness and take advantage of it. He's not saying don't be kind, but just in this specific situation, I was just being too nice to this person. And he kind of just really gave me that message of know your worth. And I was like, whoa, I was just really taken aback. And again, this was only 2 days after the session I had with her. And I'm like, oh my God, like I literally just started laughing. And I was like, okay, God, like I see the message that you're giving me. One was through this annoying guy at this Jewish event. Another one was through my boss, which was a great call. And I told him, I said, you know, I really appreciate the feedback. I'm always trying to grow and be better. And then the next day, and I kid you not, this all in 1 week, true story, this guy who just was a friend of mine, nothing ever happened or so, but just kind of would randomly reach out to me and like steal my energy a little bit, which was what it felt like, but I never really put boundaries on it. And then eventually I just got so frustrated, and I was like, okay, like my message this week is knowing my worth. And I just put boundaries with that guy. And again, nothing bad or anything, but it was so cool to see like I could have taken any one of those situations, just kind of walked away being like frustrated or upset or taking it personal, but really kind of zooming out after I got that message of knowing your worth, seeing every single situation and going, oh my God, okay, you need to create boundaries. Because a lot of times Shira and I also talk about this. We think that, you know, mainstream, it's like, oh, self-love is like, okay, show everyone love. We're not saying not to, but part of self-love is saying no. Right? Like
it's knowing the balance of like when to say no, when to say yes, and knowing yourself, being more in tune with what you need, what you attract. And I really like feel everything you said, because I feel like growing up, that was like a lot of what I felt like constantly. Like I grew up feeling like very, like I would give more than people, and I never like felt fulfilled. I always felt like different. So I never really like got close to anyone. And then when I did, I would always feel like, why am I giving 100% and like just not fulfilled?
Yeah.
And then I always thought like, is this a problem with me, or is this like a problem with the person? And like I would give and give of myself, and then because of that insecurity of not feeling fulfilled, I ended up in a friendship that was too fulfilling, that ended up being very toxic and too much.
Like too much energy.
Too much energy. And that's when I learned about boundaries and saying no, and how sometimes you don't need to find that love or fulfillment or acceptance from other people. It's from yourself. And once I started shifting that, creating more boundaries, I realized even with relationships I've had previously that maybe I didn't feel as fulfilled, and I started feeling like, wow, okay, they're good friends. It's just, I just was missing that self-love, that acceptance of me. And then I started like embracing more of my differences and who I am and who other people are. So I really feel like it's a culmination of creating boundaries, knowing yourself, getting to know yourself. That's really what this whole thing is about.
Also getting to know your intentions. Like,
yes.
Because we believe in this idea that whatever your intention is, like let's say you're planting a seed, the intention is a good thing, the fruit will be good. But if the intention is bad or selfish, like the fruit that you're planting is going to turn out moldy or whatever, right? We like analogies here. But it really is that idea of understanding yourself so that you can see your intentions behind things, of like why you want to hang out with someone or why you want to do something, or just really understanding, like, is it coming from a place of lack where you feel like what Shira was saying, like unfulfilled, so let me go find that in external things? Or is it from a place of you love yourself so much and you feel so whole and you know your value, so I'm going to go and I know that I can accomplish whatever, right? I think for me it's interesting because I relate a lot to Shira, hence why we're here. But no, really for me, when I was younger, I had a really huge, just insecure relationship with myself. I didn't even realize that. I was really not aware of it at the time, but I just had a lot of negative dialogue, or a lot of negative self-dialogue. I would just talk to myself and I really wasn't aware of it. I just kind of thought that was normal, but I would just constantly judge myself or put myself down, like, oh, why is this not person, why does this person not like me, or why is this situation happening? I'm like, oh, okay, it must be me.
And that's
right. Yes. Like you bring it back to you. It always goes back to you. But for me, because I had such a negative relationship with myself, I was so unaware until people started pointing it out. But when I was younger, I thought a way to connect to other people was to kind of like make fun of them. And in the end, it was really me just kind of putting them down.
Right. Because you thought it was like funny.
Because I thought it was funny. Right. You're immature. You're a kid. You're a teenager. Whatever it is. I also think teenagers are like, that's probably the hardest time in your life, where you're just a huge insecurity portal, you know? But no, for me, it was really difficult. It was never fun, you know? Like I always just kind of came back to my own head, and it wasn't fun in there. And right? Like
it's so relatable.
It's so relatable.
Not fun up here.
Not fun up there. But once I started I think really things started turning for me once I realized my real big need for external validation, like what you were saying, Shira. When I started really realizing how much I rely on other people's words of affirmation and compliments and kind of confirmations on literally anything. It could be like an outfit to, should I post this? Should I say this? Should I talk to this person? Who should I be friends with? You know, like anything in that sense. Once I started realizing that was the root of things, and I started leaning into myself more, that was when I was able to really change the dialogue in my head from negative to positive, which is everything. Like, truly is one of my biggest accomplishments in life. I think a lot of times people think of accomplishments as things, but Shira and I like love the idea of accomplishments, meaning relationships and progress and like the self-healing of it all.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm definitely proud of us. I know we've like spoken about this personally, but it's definitely not easy. I'll say that straight up. Like it took me a lot of time, and it's still taking time to really get to the place where you feel comfortable with yourself and secure with yourself. And I really feel like the security of like when you feel secure, like let's say before I said like I would always feel different, and like then I thought that was a good thing, but because I looked at it in such a negative way, like, why is everyone else not like putting effort or caring as much or whatever, like that.
Perspective is everything.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
I got lost in my own train of thought.
No, I
but
love
basically,
that.
like, once you accept who you are, and I accepted that I'm different and so is everyone else, it became a positive thing to be different and not like, oh, I'm different and no one's like me. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not like looking at everyone negatively and judging. I really feel like when you learn to love yourself, you become less judgmental to other people.
You know what it is? Because I think part of self-love is really acceptance. It's acceptance
Yes.
of who you are, what you do, what you're about, and like stopping to judge that part of you, whatever
Yeah.
that may be, whether you're different. Or
Like right
this.
now, I'm judging myself for not being able to explain myself. But you know what? This
Give
is
yourself
real
love
life.
in this moment.
This is real life.
Yes.
Okay.
Because also,
It's
what you're-
hard.
Yeah, and like what you're saying is like you're gonna be in situations. I mean, in life, always we're humans. We have situations where we get to make choices, and we get to choose self-love at that moment, or self-criticism, or self-judgment.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing is like understanding that when you are in situations with other people, like when Shira was talking about friends, truly also understanding it's not personal. Like people say things and do things as a reflection of how they feel about themselves, and not even at all how they feel about you.
Yes.
I also think that situations come into our lives to help us show what's inside of ourselves, what still needs to be fixed or cleaned up. So it's like an opportunity to clean our own internal garbage and not necessarily like judge the other person. But also part of our journey that Shira and I have been doing is asking ourselves, like, what is the best way to practice self-love? Because like Shira and I can talk for hours
Yeah.
and sit here and go, oh my gosh, yeah, self-love. We all hear it. It's all mainstream. We all understand it. You know, we've all heard it a million times, but genuinely, what are ways that we can love ourselves? And Shira, if you want to share a little bit about what you do in your life, and then I can share a bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, I still have so much to talk about like that friendship and everything. I'm
Yeah.
going to touch on it more.
We have time. We have many
But
episodes.
yeah, for sure. So that'll definitely be spoken about, because I feel like that was really like a transformative situation
Oh, I love that
in my
word.
life that shifted everything. And when you're in a situation like that where you feel like you can't get out of it, and then you do, and you even look back at the situation and you don't judge the person, don't judge yourself, like that's like wow. Anyways, but what I do on the daily to try to just take care of myself and love myself, and I'm just gonna say basic, because I feel like
Yeah.
I've been getting too deep. Basic. I love to read. I love to listen to music. I just feel like the simple things sometimes, just sitting with yourself, learning how to be alone and feel comfortable in being alone, and like doing the things you love by yourself, is like really helpful. And like I went to the movies by myself
I
once.
love
I went
that.
to a concert by myself once, and those things just like, it makes you just feel good. It makes me feel good.
Because it's like small things. It's big, but it's small things that like really help you like trust yourself and build that relationship. Like we kind of forget that we have this relationship with ourselves. The way that we build foundations with other people, we need to build those foundations with ourselves.
Yeah.
I also think, like, for me, I could say two things. I started doing hot yoga in this last year. And at
Oh my
first
God,
I was
wanna
like,
try that.
yeah, at first I was like not into it. My friends were trying to convince me. I'm like, ew, that sounds gross, in a heated class. But then now I realize that when I need, like, I'm in my busy day at work and then I go to a hot yoga class, like I come out feeling so much more connected to myself and so much more relaxed and just so much more like able to handle life a little bit better. But also one thing that really has just changed my life in the last 2 years, I want to say, is that a couple years ago I was meeting with a therapist, and, you know, we were talking a lot about self-love. And she was telling me that, we were talking about self-love and also my need for external validation. It was something really big that I was kind of, really realizing in every little area of my life. And she said, well, why don't you write down all the things that you want other people to tell you? And every day before you start your day, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say those things to you. And I was like, whoa, like that sounds weird and cringy. And I'm like, I have to look at myself in the mirror and say these things. But I was like, but like it was really cool. And I started doing that. I also believe, the eyes are the window.
I kind of heard her this morning.
Yeah. The eyes are the window to the soul. So it's really important to like stare at yourself in the mirror. I also tell people, I used to like, when I started these personal affirmations, I was so awkward looking at myself in the mirror and like making eye contact. Like, I don't know how to explain that. It was so weird. But then as I kept doing them every day and I would add to these personal affirmations, it started with things that I wanted other people to tell me, like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so amazing, you've accomplished so much, you've grown so much, you're so wonderful to be around, you're so fun, whatever. And then it went from like, seeing things that I've seen on different videos or such to incorporating that. Like, I'll one of the things I love that I added recently was I trust the universe more than I trust my fear, right? Something like that. Even just kind of emphasizing the kind of person I want to be. Or, I lack nothing and I have everything, and I attract and I allow what comes to me, and everything will come to me in the simplest and easy, in the most abundant way. Yeah. Like little examples like that. But it really started from me looking at myself in the mirror, like barely making eye contact. So now I'm like smiling at myself the whole time as I say it. And it's like this really exciting ritual I get to do. So honestly, that's just a practical tool that I've actually shared with a lot of people and a lot of friends, that people have told me it's really helped them as well. You need to try it. It's really, really, and I don't just say it and I don't do it. Like I'm only sharing it because it's something that's really transformed my own relationship. And I noticed that because I do that every day, I really stopped. Obviously, I'm always going to crave external validation, right? Like that is the whole process of self-love. But I catch myself in these moments of wanting, Shira or a friend to be like, oh, I look so good, instead looking at myself in the mirror going, oh, I look amazing. Right. Like I don't need anyone else's. You can
give that validation to yourself.
I can give that to me. And something that is, I think something that we love about this topic is just the more love that you give to yourself, the bigger ability you have to give love to others. And that really ties into what we were saying, like love your neighbor as yourself.
And it's like in the airplane when they tell you to put the mask on yourself before putting it on others, even a child. It really does come down to that. Like it's so you deep. Need to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of others.
And it's so funny because talking about like personal affirmations, I saw this video recently. I sent it to Shira. It was so cute. There's like little 9-year-old girl. She couldn't have been older. She's like skateboarding with a helmet and everything. She's about to go this big ramp. Looked really scary. And it's just this like 10-second clip of her saying to herself on video, I am brave. I got this. I can do this.
I do that all the time.
Right? Like I can do scary things. And she just goes and does this like beautiful skateboarding trick, whatever. But I just looked at that and I go, oh my God, what a beautiful way to raise your kid. Like I'm not a mom, but I know already that when I have children, I really want to do the personal affirmations in the mirror with them, to just show them from the get-go, you have so much power. We are such powerful human beings that our words and the way that we talk to ourselves really matter.
Yeah, I recently went to El Salvador with my friends, and I was telling Rachel this, that we did like these two they were really hard for me. They were like frolicking up the mountain, but
hikes.
Yeah. What did I say?
You just said we did these hard things.
Oh, yeah. We did these really hard hikes, and they were just like easily going up, and I like started to like, why can't I do this? Like, oh, like I'm just so slow, like being really hard on myself. And then I'm like, you know what? The fact that I'm even here, okay, I might be at the back of the pack, but like you're there. I did it. I went up. I saw the volcano. I saw everything they saw. It might have taken me a little bit slower, but I did it. And just to be, I don't know, I felt like, and then I told Rahab, like, we have to talk about this. Because I don't know, just like to know, like, it's okay to be at your own pace.
And it's just about, it's not about your pace. It's just about showing up for yourself.
Yes.
I think that's really, in whatever way that looks like.
Being proud of the small moments.
Yeah, like if it's you didn't, for something small, like you didn't want to go to the gym or a hot yoga class, whatever, and you went, like being proud of yourself. Every time at hot yoga, I love it. I really love yoga and the idea. But even at the end, every single instructor says, like, be proud that you showed up for yourself today.
And even if you didn't,
and even if you didn't,
that's where
Yes.
it's really the challenge. When you don't feel like you're doing the right thing in that moment, to not be hard on yourself and to show yourself grace.
It's happened to me many times where I'm like beating myself up for not going to hot yoga, but I'm like in severe pain or just like not feeling well. And I'm like, okay, like what is self-love in this moment? Because self-love will always, that's also something to add. Like self-love looks different every day and it looks different for every person. So sometimes self-love is about going to the class and sometimes it's about staying home and resting. You know, we're a human being, not a human doing.
Yes. And I want to mention one last thing.
Yeah.
Before
And then we'll get
go
into the quote in question.
What helps me have self-love? Personally, I feel like my belief in God and like divine purpose and like all that helps me, because I really feel like when you, regardless of whether you believe or whatever, for me, I feel like when you believe in a higher purpose, for me, when I believe in God, it allows me to connect with myself, because you sort of like realize that there's a bigger purpose for everything, and that also helps you not be so hard on yourself, knowing that everything happens for a reason and that God chose me for a specific reason, and I'm here on this earth for a specific purpose, and I am needed. And just connecting to him allows me to connect to myself and be like, I need me too.
And you're also so unique. Like there is no other person on this earth that looks like you, that thinks like you, that acts like you. And I think that in and of itself is so beautiful and special.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's get to the quote. Quote of the day is, I love this one. So we saw this actually in a video, and I am so sorry if I mispronounce her name, but this actress, she was on The Big Bang Theory, Mayim Bialik.
Yeah.
So she was saying in an interview, and I'll repeat it twice, like I'll say it twice because it's so good. When you love yourself enough, meaning when you understand your needs and believe they are worthy, you will no longer find attractive people who can't fulfill those things for you. So one more time. When you love yourself enough, meaning when you understand your needs and believe they are worthy, you will no longer find attractive people who can't fulfill those things for you.
Yeah, that's like what you touched on before about like boundaries, and when you really get in tune with yourself, you start learning what you need, what you don't need. And I feel like we just spoke about this, how like I was telling you about like how I feel like at this point in my life, I really feel secure with like the friendships and relationships that I have. Yeah. And I feel like that comes down to that, like knowing what you want to invite into your life.
And what you do not.
What you do not. And we're definitely going to touch on this more, like about like energies and like
relationships.
People. Yeah, relationships.
So much to say about it.
That's just like a little introduction. But
sure, you want to read the question?
Yeah.
Also?
So we kind of answered this already, so we're just going to ask it and leave it to you guys. Question for reflection. What can you implement in your daily routine to show yourself some extra love?
And it could be something so simple as like taking a walk, sitting down to color, reading a book, just sitting there for 10 minutes and doing nothing. Yeah. It could be anything, but whatever you feel speaks to you, we highly recommend with so much love to just start doing those things for yourself.
The small things.
Because the small things are the big things.
Yes. I love it. I think that's a perfect way to
end the episode.
To end this.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We hope this conversation helped you feel a little bit more seen, a little less alone, and reminded you to take a step back and zoom out.
We're grateful to have you all along with us on this journey together.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Bye, friends.